and close your eyes. The dragon swooped down, sunlight glinting brilliantly over the glimmering length of its scaly body. Okay, open your eyes. So who saw a dragon? If you did, then you've experienced something that I like to call word spark. It's simple. It's merely when a word sparks something in your mind. Word spark is a major component of one of the biggest parts of a human being, the imagination. Imagination today is usually seen as making up invisible friends or fictional countries, and that's part of it, and those are fun, but that's not what it really is. It's a huge part of us as people, and part of the vision behind everything around us. Word spark is a major part of imagination because imagination is often cultivated by reading. And from picture books to huge complicated tomes, from the Cat in the Hat to the Count of Monte Cristo, words spark images in our minds, ideas, opinions, which we see through the views of our own current reality. The ability to imagine something is something that is universally shared all over. That's why I used a dragon in my opening example, because I believe dragons represent imagination. I like to read fairy tales. I've read fairy tales from all over the world, from all different times. And among many similarities is that fairy tales from almost every culture have some sort of dragon in them. Whether it's a sea serpent, lindworm, or the St. George and the Dragon style dragon, they all have a dragon. They're all similar, yet they're all diverse, like the imaginations that spring them to life all over. Dragons have become, I believe, the mascot for fantasy, but as they represent the similarities and yet differences of people and their imaginations and views of all over the world, I believe they represent imagination as well. Everyone can imagine things, but not everyone likes to, which is sad. Basically, everyone can imagine things, but not everyone can imagine riding on fluffy unicorns to go fight dragons. Sad fact of life. But though everyone sees things differently, and word spark affects people in different ways, there is proof that it's something that everyone shares, because there are some things that everyone's mind responds to. A few years ago, I was in a class, I think it was about 5 to 10-year-olds, and the teacher was trying to explain the meaning of the word omniscient, all-knowing. And he used an example that I don't think I will ever forget. He told us pretty much that he could read our minds, that he could say something and he would know exactly what everyone was thinking because they would be thinking the exact same thing at the same time. And we were immediately a very skeptical group of 5 to 10-year-olds. But then he asked a question. What's your name? And in everyone's minds was the same thing at the same time. Because no matter how we view things or how we imagine things, there are some words, some things that spark views in all of our minds. It's something that everyone has, the power to see something differently than the way it is, or the power to envision something new into being, often a new world. For no fictional world could exist without imagination. Without it, we have no Narnia, no Middle Earth, no galaxy far, far away. There'd still be a lot of galaxies far, far away, but not the one we usually think of. Because when the authors, composers, directors, artists, and designers create the worlds that we know and love so much, the fires of their imaginations are stoked, and they pour themselves and their creativity into the stories that we know. Often this creates a chain of creativity and imagination, as when we have a story that we love, it influences what we do, and we make stories, songs, poems, art, based on the products of others' imaginations. And this is truly a beautiful thing, though it can be extremely divisive. Who's ever had that book or that game or whatever that just means so much to you? It's so wonderful, and then you find out they're making a movie or an animated series of it. It's just so wonderful and so amazing, and oh, the hype, and it's real, and then they get your favorite character's hair color wrong. How many times have we each taken a belligerent step forward and been like, well, that's not how I imagined it. Well, sorry, I didn't ask your opinion. The chain of creativity can make people angry, can make people upset when we just don't seem to get that people see things a different way than we do. But it still truly is a beautiful thing. Also, no real world could exist without imagination either, because every time a business is started up, a project is begun, a song is written, imagination is utilized. It's all around us. One big sign that imagination is all around us is, well, who's ever heard the term imagination running away with us? Like mirages, or whenever someone is 5 minutes late for an appointment and we automatically assume the worst has happened. Or the strange, unfounded fears that we have as children. I know, when I was little, I was never afraid of monsters under my bed or in my closet, and I've never been very upset with the dark. But I did have one nightly fear, and it's one I hope no one else has ever had or ever will experience, because it was really dumb. I used to imagine that there were these bears that would come out of the woods at night and watch me through the windows. It sounds awfully silly now, but back then it was terrifying that there were these bears staring at me through the windows. So, yeah, imagination can definitely run away with us at times, but other times it can help us run toward a special goal. Word spark is all around us as well, as we read books, and often it combines with our emotions to produce a very special feeling in us. That's part of why we cry at books and movies. But words can help us feel fear or awe or joy or sadness. And sometimes words can bring up those special feelings that no words can describe, but the words are what spark it in us, in our imaginations. There's one passage from a book that I've always loved. It feels like the words just weave together into a melody, and it's that I would like to read to you. It's short. It's from The Monster in the Hollows by Andrew Peterson. When Lily sang, her song rose from the depths of her heart and sent a burst of shimmering chords into the matter of the world. They sizzled from her in a million strands like a spider web of lightning bolts. They shot through Janner and Kalmar, waking something bright in their bones, and each of them felt it differently. The music's power was invisible to everyone around them. It was just a pretty song amidst the clamor of warfare. But for the jewels of an era who bore the blood of their ancestors, the music reached into secret places and did wondrous things. Janner heard voices, Kalmar saw pictures, Lily's tender heart coursed with the rivers of emotion swirling in those near her, opening her to the deep, unutterable mysteries of their souls. One, lost in a vast darkness, saw golden light. The strand of song burned through the bedrock of the green hollows, through 1,000 miles of molten stone and layered rock laid by the Maker at the speaking of the world, past the black depths of the dark sea, coursing unnoticed through the blood and marrow of massy, eyeless beings asleep on the ocean floor, till the chord was weakened by distance into a quivering rustle of cells lifting invisibly from the ground. Imagination is really a beautiful thing. It gives us the power to drift into the past, to see what it was like, and to wonder what could have been. It gives us the ability to float into the future, to imagine what we still have a chance to make. Imagination is the power of our mind's eye to see the things that our eyes cannot. And it's a power that we all share. So next time someone tells you, "Oh, you're just imagining things," your answer can be yes, all the time.